Ladies, let me break something down that a lot of women overlook, and it's going to save you some heartache if you hear me real clear. Men know early on who they see as wife material. I'm talking real early, not after dozens of intimate nights, not after meeting the family. No, a man knows in his mind and spirit fairly quickly which category to place a woman in, whether she's someone to build a future with or someone to enjoy for a season. Now, some women think it's about time, like if they just wait long enough, he'll change his mind. No, baby. Time don't turn a maybe into a wise. It just delays the inevitable. No. The truth is, from the beginning, men are sizing things up. We don't always talk about it out loud, but the decision process is happening right away. Do I want to pursue her seriously? Or do I want to keep her around for convenience? See, when a man meets a woman, he's not just looking at her beauty. That might catch his attention, but it doesn't hold it. What locks a man in is how she carries herself, how she speaks, how she handles herself in situations, and most of all, how she makes him feel about himself. A woman who holds herself to a higher standard sends a message. You can't just come into my life and play. That's the kind of woman who shakes a man up and makes him think twice about how he approaches her. But when a man sees that you'll accept the bare minimum, when you're giving him girlfriend or wife, level commitment without him giving you clarity or commitment, he will take it, but he won't honor it. That's the hard truth. He might enjoy your body, your cooking, your emotional support, and your loyalty, but none of that will guarantee a ring. Why? Because he never saw you as the one in the first place. He saw you as someone for now, not someone forever. This isn't about blame, it's about understanding the mind of a man. And ladies, hear this with love. A man will stay with a woman for years without ever intending to marry her. Not because he's evil, not because he's trying to destroy her, simply because he can. Because deep down, he knows she's not the one he plans to commit to long term, but she fills a need in the short term. Sometimes it's comfort. Sometimes it's convenience. It's just physical. But if a man doesn't see a future with you, no amount of time, no amount of love, no amount of patience is going to flip that switch. And when he finally meets the one he does want to marry, maybe someone who holds him to a higher standard, someone who makes him step up, he will do for her in 6 months what he refused to do for you in 6 years. Now, that hurts. I know it does. But that's why you've got to know this truth early so you don't waste time. A man doesn't need 10 years to know whether he wants to marry you. He just needs clarity. And you give him clarity by being clear about your standards. See, when you set boundaries, you're not pushing him away. You're filtering the ones who were never serious to begin with. If he walks away because you demand commitment, guess what? He was never planning to commit anyway. But here's the problem. Too many women believe that if they just love a man hard enough, long enough, deep enough, he'll come around. And maybe in fairy tales that works. But in real life, all it does is keep you tied to someone who's already mentally moved on. And worse, it blocks the one who would truly value you from even getting a chance, because your heart is tied up in a relationship that's going nowhere. Men commit to what they respect, and men respect what they have to work for. Not in a manipulative way, not in a game-playing way, but in a way that says, I value myself, and I'm not just giving my heart, my time, and my body to someone who isn't offering me the same energy. A woman who operates with that mindset doesn't beg for love. She becomes the prize. And when a man sees you as the prize, trust me, he'll move mountains to make sure no one else wins you. That's why the woman he marries might not always be the most beautiful one he's dated. She might not even be the one he had the most chemistry with. But she's the one who made him feel like a man. She's the one who didn't let him slack. She's the one who held her standard, and he realized that if he didn't step up, somebody else would. So remember, it's not about trying to become more of what you think a man wants. It's about being more of who you truly are and letting that be enough. Because the right man won't just want to sleep with you. He'll want to build a life with you. And you won't have to convince him, chase him, or prove your worth. He'll already know it. And that there is why some men will sleep with you but marry someone else. Because they saw your value. But they also saw that they didn't have to rise to meet it. But the one who's meant for you, he won't just see your value. He'll protect it, honor it, and build with it. There's something that needs to be said, and it might hit hard for some of you, but I say it with nothing but love. Just because you're available to a man doesn't mean he values you. Let that sink in for a minute. A man might call you, text you, see you, sleep with you, even spend consistent time with you, but that doesn't automatically mean he respects you, cherishes you, or sees you as someone he wants to build a future with. See, too many women confuse presence with purpose. Just because a man is present in your life doesn't mean he has any purpose for being there. He might be around because it's convenient or because you let him be. But that's not the same as being there with intention. And the moment you confuse that, you start lowering your standards, your boundaries, and eventually your self-worth. Let's talk about availability. We live in a world where access is easy. You can text someone at 2 a.m., and if they respond, you think it means something. You think, he must care. He hit me back. No. Sometimes that man is just bornly. Sometimes he's in a dry spell, and you're the first person who always picks up. That's availability, not value. You might be the one he calls when he needs comfort, the one who listens to his problems, the one who boosts his ego, the one who gives him your body, your time, your energy. But ask yourself this, what is he giving you back? If the answer is confusion, inconsistency, or silence when you bring up commitment, then he's not valuing you. He's using you to fill a gap in his life that he has no plans to fill with you long term. Now let's flip it. A man values what he invests in. That's how we're wired. When a man sees a woman he truly values, he wants to earn her, not just access her. He puts in effort. He thinks about a future, not just his desires. When a man values you, you don't have to ask, what are we? You'll already know. His actions will be louder than his words. And he won't just be around, he'll be intentional. But when you're too available, when you respond to every call, every text, every late night, like clockwork, you're teaching him that you require nothing to get everything. And the truth is, people don't value what they don't have to work for. That doesn't mean you should play games or be fake. It means you should protect your time, your energy, your love, and your body like the treasure it is. Because it is. You see, when you give too much too soon, you rob yourself of the chance to be pursued. You become the one doing the chasing. You start giving and giving and giving, hoping one day you'll wake up and say, wow, she's been here for me all this time. I should wife her. But it doesn't work like that. Because in his mind, you weren't a prize to be warm. You weren't a comfort zone. A space he could return to without giving anything back. Let me give it to you straight. If a man can sleep with you, spend time with you, and get emotional support from you, all without commitment, then why would he suddenly feel the need to commit? He's already getting everything he wants. And he didn't have to earn enough. So he tells himself, why change the situation? It benefits me. And while he's benefiting, you're the one waiting, hoping, and slowly becoming more frustrated. You start doing girlfriend things, cooking, cleaning, holding him down, without ever actually being his girlfriend. That's dangerous, because when you operate in the role without the title, you're giving him the rewards without requiring the responsibility. And that kind of setup only works in his favor, never yours. Now let me be clear. Being available isn't a bad thing when it's with someone who sees your value and treats you accordingly. The problem is being available to the wrong person and expecting the right results. That's where the heartbreak comes in. That's where the confusion grows. That's where women start feeling like they're not enough, when in reality they just gave too much to a man who wasn't capable of reciprocating. So how do you protect your values? By not responding to every text, by saying no to intimacy when commitment isn't on the table, by having the self-respect to walk away when you see he's not matching your energy. That doesn't make you cold. That doesn't make you bitter. That makes you wise. It makes you powerful. It tells the world, I am not for casual use. And the man who truly sees your value, he won't be scared off by that. In fact, he'll be drawn to it. He'll see you as someone who knows her worth, and that will either challenge him to step up or step aside. And either way, you win, because you're no longer pouring into someone who doesn't see you, respect you, or plan to stay. So stop confusing attention with intention. Stop mistaking availability for value. Your heart is not a discount store. Your love is not a clearance item. You deserve to be chosen, pursued, and appreciated, not just accessed. Let's talk about something a lot of women don't see coming. It's the reality that some men will chase one woman for years, sleep with another, and then suddenly turn around and marry someone completely different, and not because she was prettier, sexier, or even more compatible. Sometimes it's not about chemistry. It's about stability. It's about peace. It's about timing. And I know that doesn't sound romantic, but it's real. You might have been the one who gave him butterflies. You made him laugh. You had deep talks. You had that spark. But guess what? That spark don't always translate into commitment. Because when it comes time for a man to settle down, he doesn't just look for attraction. He looks for foundation. He looks for a woman who brings order to his chaos, who calms his storms, not adds to them. She might not be the one he chased for years, but she's the one who made him feel like a man again. There are women out here who give a man peace, not drama, not games, not arguments over every little thing. And that peace becomes more valuable to him than excitement ever did. So while you were focused on the passion, the chemistry, the fire, he was thinking about his future. And the woman he chose, she gave him clarity. She didn't always blow his mind, but she helped him focus. She wasn't the loudest in the room, but she was consistent. She didn't make him chase her for years, but she made him want to stay. And this is where a lot of women get blindsided. You think, we had such a strong connection. I don't understand how he could just marry someone else. But the truth is, chemistry is not commitment. Just because you had deep talks at 2 a.m., just because the sex was great, just because you laughed together, doesn't mean he saw you as the one to build a life with. And that's not always about you, it's about where he is in life. Men go through stages, and the man you met at 25 is not the same man at 35. The younger version of him chased thrill, ego, attention. But as he matures, he starts to value simplicity, loyalty, structure. He begins to realize that a peaceful woman is priceless. She doesn't play games. She doesn't test his patience. She supports his vision. And she doesn't try to fix him. She challenges him to grow. That's who he wants by his side when it's time to make real moves. That's why some men end up marrying a woman they didn't pursue that hard at first. Because she wasn't the roller coaster. She was the landing place. And she stood out not by being loud, not by being extra, but by being consistent. She didn't come into his life to compete. She came to complement. She didn't try to prove she was better than the rest. She just showed up with peace, maturity, and boundaries. And that's what made her unforgettable. Now, this part is going to sting, but hear me, sometimes a man doesn't marry the woman who loved him the most. He marries the woman who loved herself enough not to tolerate nonsense. That woman didn't stick around while he figured it out. She didn't give wife benefits to a man who wasn't her husband. She had standards and he had to rise to meet them. And once he saw that, he respected her more. She made him work for her love. And because of that, he valued it. You see, the fun girl is who he hands out when he's not ready. But the foundation girl, that's who he builds with when he finally gets serious. So yes, he might have had more sparks with you, but he felt more grounded with her. And when a man's ready to plant roots, he doesn't look for sparks. He looks for soil. He looks for a woman who makes him feel safe enough to grow. So if a man left you and married someone else, don't automatically assume it was because you weren't enough. Sometimes you were just the experience that taught him what to look for. And unfortunately, he found it in someone else. But that doesn't mean you failed. It just means you were part of the process. And you should never regret being a woman who loved deeply and gave fully. Just learn to give that same love to someone who's ready for it. And ladies, here's what you really need to take from this: stop assuming chemistry is proof of future. Chemistry might get his attention, but character keeps it. And if he didn't stay, it means he wasn't aligned with your future anyway. So don't chase the one who left. Build yourself into the woman who attracts someone prepared to stay. Because the right man, he won't just be looking for peace, he'll bring it too. Let me tell you something that'll change the way you move in every relationship. If you let it sink in, know your worth, then add tax. Not just because it sounds good, not because it's a cute quote for Instagram, but because it's the kind of mindset that protects you from accepting less than you deserve. It's what separates the women who keep getting played from the women who get respected, pursued, and chosen. See, too many women out here are negotiating their worth like it's up for discussion. You're giving discounts to people who didn't qualify to walk in the door. You're lowering your standards to keep someone who wouldn't raise theirs to meet you. And you call it loyalty, but it's really fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, Fear that if you raise your price, nobody will pay it. But here's the truth. You don't find out who values you when you give everything away. You find out who values you when you make them earn access to you. And that's what adding tax means. It means you stop giving out good energy, your time, your love, and especially your body to people who haven't shown that they're serious about you. It means you don't shrink yourself just to make someone else comfortable. Let's break this down. Knowing your worth means recognizing that you bring more to the table than looks. You bring peace, you bring emotional intelligence, you bring strength, compassion, consistency, and loyalty. And if you don't know how valuable that is, you'll keep settling for men who only see you as entertainment. You'll keep hoping that one day, if you just hang in there, love harder, stay patient, he'll finally wake up and treat you right. But baby, that's not how this works. If a man doesn't see your worth from the beginning, he'll keep taking from you without ever giving you what you truly need. He'll take your kindness and call it weakness. He'll take your loyalty and treat it like a guarantee. And one day you'll look around and reel 100% to someone who only ever gave you 20%. When you know your worth, you stop explaining why you want commitment. You stop apologizing for having standards. You stop being afraid to walk away when you're not being respected. And let me tell you, when you're willing to walk away, that's when your power shows up. Because the truth is, some men will only do what you allow. If you allow him to play with your heart, he will. If you allow him to come and go as he pleases, he will. But if you say, this is what I need, and if you can't give it, I'm gone, you either weed him out or wake him up. And here's something else adding tax means: you know you're not for everybody. And you don't need to be. You're not supposed to be universally accepted. You're not supposed to lower your price to meet someone else's budget. If he can't afford the emotional, mental, and spiritual currency it takes to love you right, then he needs to keep it moving. You're not a clearance item. You're a limited edition. It also means you hold yourself accountable. You stop begging someone to the way you deserve. You stop chasing. Because when you chase, you're telling someone that they're the prize. But when you know your worth, you are the prize, and the right man will pursue you like it. Some of y'all are giving wife energy to a man who hasn't even asked to be your boyfriend. You're over-delivering and under-receiving. You're bending over backwards trying to prove you're worth keeping. But if a man doesn't see it on his own, your efforts won't convince him. You don't have to audition for a role you were born to play. You just have to stop showing up for people who don't recognize your value. And no, knowing your worth doesn't mean walking around with an attitude. It doesn't mean being cold or cocky or hard. It means being solid. It means being kind and clear, soft but strong, loving but not naïve. It means you can care about someone and still walk away when you're not getting what you need. Because you know what the tax represents: self-respect. That extra charge is for the nights you for someone who didn't pray for you. It's for the emotional labor, the overthinking, the healing you had to do after left you broken. It's for every time you had to pick yourself up when they didn't show up. That's the tax. That's the cost of access to you now. So don't be afraid to be misunderstood. Some people will call you too much, too picky, too demanding. Let them. The man who's meant for you won't see you as too much. He'll see you as just right. Because when a man is ready, your standards don't scare him. They guide him. When you know your worth, you don't chase, you attract, you don't convince, you choose. You don't settle, you rise. And when you add tax, baby, that's when you stop begging to be chosen and start choosing yourself.